our second to last amazing training in the Potpourri Experts webinar series that has been happening every Thursday in the front row with members from our private community, Front Row VIP. They are the winners of our Spring Accountability Challenge. And one of the prizes was that they could come in and present on a topic of their choice. We've asked each person to put in a juicy offer for you at the end. So make sure you stay till the end because you're not going to want to miss this offer. And today I could not be more excited to introduce you to, if you don't already know, Belinda Wasser. So she is a business workflow and logistics expert with 25 years of experience. Rocket Girl Solution. She's the founder of Rocket Girl Solutions, and she's hired by solo professionals. I like solo professionals. I always say solopreneurs, but I like solo professionals so much better, actually. Anyway, she's hired by them to act as their part-time business manager. She helps her clients make more money, more efficiently, and with less stress via streamlining and improving systems, online payment setup and management, social media engagement, website builds, and marketing automation. So basically everything. And in addition, she is the founder of the VA Connection, a professional online community with the goal of educating and connecting independent virtual assistants around the world. You are in for a real treat because Belinda is going to talk to us about her unique, innovative approach to pricing her services. And I'm just going to stop blabbing and hand it over to you. Welcome, Belinda.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you. Thank you. So let me just, I'm going to share my screen right now. Okay, so I just want to verify that you guys can see me and see my screen. Can someone give me a thumbs up about that? Okay, all right, I'm going to go. So I spent 17 years in corporate America, and I actually loved it. I had really great managers. I had really juicy projects, and I got to work on making systems better with my managers, and they really were mentors, and they taught me so much. So I did this for 17 years, and then this little girl was born. Her name is Emily, and she was just a dream come true. I always wanted to be a mother. I had a little bit of a challenge. I had to engage a team of medical professionals, but here she is, and that was about 19 years ago. So I'm knee deep in baby stuff, and I love technology, and I decided to go out on my own and start an online baby gift boutique. It was called Blueberry Babies. Now keep in mind, this is the dark ages of the internet, all right? So this is like, I had just finished working on a project with a big digital agency I worked for to bring online Neiman Marcus. So it's so early in the internet that Neiman Marcus is just getting their first website. So I worked on that, and what happened over the course of time was there was no Shopify, there was Yahoo Store. All of the systems didn't talk to each other. So when I wanted to send a tracking number, I literally had to cut and paste it between two applications to send the tracking number out to my clients, to my customers. So along the way, I made a name for myself. I learned how everything worked. I grew an email list to about, I'm trying to remember, it was either 15 or 18,000. And people started to notice me, and they started to ask me, how did you do that? How did you grow your list? How did you manage, to connect these systems? And I loved that. I loved it. So what happened was one day, so what I would say to them is, cool, come to my neighborhood, buy me a martini. The idea was that I was going to try to save them a couple of hours or a couple of years in some cases by telling them what the next steps were to get to their goal. The reason it was my neighborhood was so I could walk home after that martini. But the thing that was interesting was one day someone said to me, okay, great, I love that. Would you do it for me? And at that moment, it was 2008. I'd been doing this for a number of years. My sales had cut in half. My life was changing. I was getting divorced, and I had to figure something out. So in that moment, I became Rocket Girl. And Rocket Girl Solutions was born with this one client. And then over time, it has grown. It's been 9 years now. I have over 50 clients all over the country, some in Europe, many of whom I've never met. And the second year in, I was able to create a 6-figure income. So for the last 8 years of the 9 years that I've been Rocket Girl, I figured out how to make over $100,000 a year. And one of the things that was critical to that was pricing, because this delicious girl here, Emily, a few years from the picture before, I was supporting her. I had to make sure that I could do that. So I had to get the pricing right. Now, we need to just sort of face this head on. We all have pricing issues, but we need to deal with them, because if we don't, this is what happens. And I know you guys know this, but let's just say it. Clients aren't sure if we're really in business. When we're not sure what we're pricing and how to talk about it, they think, well, is she doing me a favor? You know, I don't really know. She's not clear. You know, maybe she's just starting out. I'm not sure if she's good at this. We don't appear professional or confident, and we stress our clients out, because when we're clear, they know what to expect. But more than that, we totally stress ourselves out, right? This is what happens. So you need to get in the driver's seat here with your pricing. So here's the deal. When I first started out, I thought, this is what I'm going to do. People told me, do flat rate. And I thought this was going to be really smart, because if I do flat rate, what's going to happen is I'm going to get faster and my rate will get higher. So here's what I mean. Let's say someone hires me to do their email newsletter. And the first time I do it, you know, I charge them, let's say I charge them $100 and it takes me an hour. Okay, great. I'm making $100 an hour. And then over time, maybe it only takes me 15 minutes after 5 years of doing it. Now I'm making $400 an hour. So here was the problem with that. My clients, my clients all varied so much, and the projects varied so much that it was hard for me to know. It was hard for me to know, and sometimes it ended up taking more than an hour. And then what would happen is we would go out of scope, and it was upsetting, because I didn't know, like, how much do I charge them for this little thing? The other thing I didn't mention that I didn't like about flat rate was I had to figure the whole project out. I had to make a proposal, and I had to think it through, and I had to make sure that I had all the pieces. And often my clients didn't even know what the pieces are. So now, writing the proposal, figuring out the solution, I'm working for free. They might not even hire me. They might just take my proposal, right? No one ever did this, but they could take my proposal and just do the work in-house. So I didn't like that either. So then I thought, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a retainer. A lot of virtual assistants do retainers. You charge a certain amount every month, you know, use it or lose it with the hours. I tried that. I explained it to my clients. By now I have probably, I don't know, 6 or 10 clients, and I'm about a year in, and they totally don't get it. They're asking me, why are you billing me again? We didn't use the time. What are you doing? So that didn't work. So then I thought, okay, what am I going to do? I got to figure this out. I need to make money. And so I came up with this thing, and I called it the Rocket Girl debit card. Now, debit card is, you know, virtual. It's not an actual debit card. But what it is clients prepay my time in 1, 5, or 10-hour chunks, and it's good for a year. So another thing that people used to say to me is, you know, when you're doing, you know, this low level, you know, work, I don't mean low level. What I mean is, there's work that I do, like I set up credit card processing, which I would consider highly technical. When I was doing less technical work, they would say, well, it shouldn't be the same amount. And my friends and, you know, people were trying to tell me to charge 2 different rates. And I'm like, how am I going to track that? That is too complicated. No one's going to get it. So I just decided, because I'm in the driver's seat, 1 hourly rate, no matter what I'm doing. The work starts after I get paid. So here's how the flow goes. Client will get on my website. Someone will tell them about me. They'll get my newsletter. They'll see me on social media. So there's some trigger. They go on my website. They usually book by themselves a 30-minute free consultation. It's very rare these days that I have any back and forth with people about getting on my calendar. They get on my calendar. They answer a few questions. They tell me their name. They tell me how long they've been in business. If they have a website, they give me the URL. They tell me who referred them, which is the most critical piece, because I really find birds of a feather flock together. And it's a big insight for me who is referring them, and really whether or not I'm going to work with them. And let's see what else. Oh, and what they want to talk about. So I get on the call with them, and at that point, I have done zero research. I look at the email when it comes in from Acuity telling me, what they want to make sure that I even do that or I'm interested in it, but I don't do any work. On this call, I am listening for a few things. I'm listening for, do I like them? Are we communicating well together? Because we're kind of on a first date right now, and if they're not listening to me, or they're talking over me, or I don't understand what they're saying, this is not a good fit. So it's, I like them, we're communicating well, I'm interested in and want to do the work. Those are the things I'm listening for. I'm doing no research. I'm probably looking at their website while we're on the phone and just checking it out to see where they are in their stage of their business, but no research. Then if they decide, the other thing, and I'm telling you all these details because it's a part of the whole system. There's nuances beyond actually just taking their credit card. The other thing is I make a statement early in this 30-minute consultation where I say, if we decide to work together, I could help you with that. So it's not if you hire me, it's not if you decide to choose me, it's a mutual decision. And this really sets the stage for the fact that I'm a business owner, Rocket Girl Solutions, I'm a professional. If they're not doing me a favor, I'm not doing them a favor. This is a clear transaction. So the Rocket Girl debit card, enter the Rocket Girl debit card. It took off like crazy because people really got it, all right? So I'm gonna walk you through the client experience, and I'm going to walk you through the experience that you'll have. First, before we go any further, I wanna tell you that this system works great for virtual assistants, but the reason I chose this topic to talk to you about today is because it works really well in all kinds of situations. So my web guy, who I love, if you need a web guy, let me know. His name is Barry, and he set up a debit card solution. I showed him mine, and he was obviously technical enough to do this himself. Scarlett DeBees, she's an image consultant. She's in Front Row VIP. She's a friend. I love her. She dresses me. She has a virtual debit card system because she can help people dress virtually. So I'm getting ready to go to a party, and I forgot to ask her what shoes to wear, and I grab her from my phone, I take a picture, I'm like, pink or blue, and she tells me, and then she just debits that time from my debit card. Really great system. So even if this is not the norm in your industry, it was not the norm in my industry either, but it's becoming that. I'm helping a lot of people roll this out. So if you're having resistance right now and you're thinking, I don't think so, try to open your mind a little bit, because I'm going to show you how cool it is and how it will bring you more work. It's quite magical. Okay, so here's my website. You'll notice right in the middle, right here, boom, arrow, pricing. Now let me tell you why I decided to put my pricing on my website. I know a lot of people say, no, don't do that. Here's the deal. I had a big corporate job, director of application development at Digitas, right? So I made a pretty good amount of money, and people thought of me as a well-paid professional. What I didn't want to do was have them mistake me for someone who was then going to roll out a consulting, boutique and charge $500 an hour. I wanted to be very clear how much money I was charging, because I wanted to dispel that possible myth that I was too expensive for them. I wanted to be accessible right away. I started my pricing at $50 an hour because I kind of figured in corporate America, I made a little over $100,000, and my brain is my brain and my experience is there. And so I went out at $50 an hour. What I did was over time was raise my rates on my new clients. So that way I preserved the people who were at $50 an hour, and then I could test $60 an hour. And I raised my rates consistently over the course of several years, and they actually went all the way to $120 an hour. The problem was that the people at $120 an hour, they were treating me kind of like when you think of going to your accountant or an attorney, like they're talking fast, they don't want any details. They just were like, tell me the answer, because it was so expensive. So it's a longer story about that, but I looked at my my clients, where they were, how they treated me, what kind of work they were giving to me, and I ended up lowering my rates. And I chose to, it used to be you could only buy 10 hours, and I chose to divide that up. That was about 3 years ago. So $90 an hour for 10 hours, $900. Oh, I'll show it to you. I have it right here. $100 an hour for 5 hours, $500. And then clients can, and they do. It's usually not a client. It's someone who just wants to pick my brain, which is completely fine. It's $150 an hour. And that is outside of the system. That goes through Acuity. So what happens is they go to my calendar, they book the time, they pay right there. And again, I don't work outside of that hour. I'll glance, make sure I can do it so that I don't show up and say, oh yeah, I don't do that. And I just show up ready to go, you know, Diet Dr. Pepper in hand. So, so this is on my website. Now, this worked to my benefit in a couple of ways. As my prices went up, my clients at lower rates could see that they were getting a deal, and they loved that. Eventually, I had to level everything out, and that's a whole different story. But this is on my website. I call it the Rocket Girl debit card. You buy the quantity you want, use it at whatever pace each good chunk is good for a year. The whole idea here is to reduce the stress. The part about the retainer was that they felt like they had to be working on their business, and all of my clients don't have the luxury to work on their business all the time. Sometimes they just need to do the work. When I hired a VA myself a number of years ago, I paid her a retainer. And the first time I didn't use the whole 10 hours, I was like, okay, fine, that was my fault. The second time I thought, I got to get serious here. I'm wasting money. The third time, which was 3 months in a row, I stopped working with her. So if she had had some flexibility, even if the 10 hours was good for 2 months, I have a little runway. So I'm just trying to provide a way for people to work with me that is relaxing, because that's the way I like to work, right? So they decide here and they click. So let me tell you why I like this. Well, number one, I get paid before I work. I can't tell you, there have been many people in my 9 years that they say, okay, great, I'm going to buy a debit card, and they start sending work to me. It doesn't happen often, but they haven't bought the debit card. Somehow they missed that step. So I send them a gentle email. Thank you for all the stuff you've been sending me. Can't wait to dive in. As soon as you buy that debit card, I am on it. So I never start to work before I get paid. When we have our first conversation, here's how I start it, because I found that I was getting caught a little bit. I say to them, I'm so excited to work with you. Let me just give you, set the stage a little bit for how we're going to work now. And I say to them, when we were talking before, during your consultation, before you became a client, I was listening to make sure that we were a good fit, that I liked you, and that I thought I could do a good job for the work. I didn't take any notes, and I wasn't trying to solve the problem. The whole reason for that call was to see if we were compatible. So let's start at the top. And then they start at the top. No one has ever gotten mad. I used to be a little afraid, and when the first couple times I said that people are going to say, well, like, what was that about? The free, you know, but they don't. They never do. And sometimes they've changed their mind. Because if I'm taking notes during that 30 minutes, I'm kind of working, and that's not what that's about. It's not about me starting the work. I no longer have to talk to my clients about money. I refer to it as the debit card. I'll say, hey, Martha, I'm right in the middle of your project, and the debit card just ran out. Can you reload it, please? So there's no, you owe me, there's no resentment, and she either loads it or she doesn't. In the very early days when I didn't know my clients well, my fingers literally came off the keyboard when the debit card ran out. Like if Martha had an hour and she sent me 2 hours worth of work, I would stop after an hour. Now Martha has been my client for 9 years. I know where she lives. I have her credit card, you know, so I feel zero risk. So if she's traveling and she doesn't want to put her credit card, you know, in an insecure, you know, whatever, internet situation, I'm totally fine with that. But for clients I haven't worked with for a long time, you know, I stop the work. And my clients usually don't wait till the debit card's empty. And I have a system for letting them know all about how much is left. And I'm going to get to that in just a second. Again, to reiterate, my rate is the same no matter what kind of work I'm doing. It's self-service. I'm going to show you in a minute how the clients buy the time themselves. Receipts are sent automatically. Stripe is part of the solution. You can use all different kinds of merchant accounts, but I chose Stripe, and it sends a branded, pretty receipt all by itself. And I no longer get tire kickers. One of the first questions I ask when we have these 30-minute consultations is, have you had a chance to go over to my website to check out how I work? And if they did, if they haven't, what I say is, it's really simple. Let me just tell you. And I say, people prepay my time in 5 or 10 hour chunks. I tell them the cost. I do the math. I say 10 hours, $90 an hour. And I have to tell you, I practiced saying that a lot, like really a lot, because I didn't want my face to do that twitchy thing, you know, and I didn't want, I just didn't want any weirdness. I wanted to be confident, a business owner, and clear about my pricing. Sometimes people will say, I'd like the 2 hour option. And I look them right in the eye and I say, you know, I don't have that. And I stop talking. That's it. Some people will ask me for a nonprofit rate. No, just no. Like, it's not emotional. I don't, because I've worked at a nonprofit, and nonprofits have money. A nonprofit means they don't keep the profit. They can spend it, and they can spend it on you. And in fact, many nonprofits have hired me because they want to cut through all that volunteer stuff, you know, and just get to the point for, you know, me giving them a solution. All right, so let me keep going. So we go to purchase the debit card. This is the page that they get to. They click, and now they're taken here. So part of the debit card is that and I'm going to talk about the tools, and I'm going to talk to you about how you can do this yourself. So here's the page. Again, I'm reiterating the information over and over because I don't want there to be any confusion. I think that, what is it? You have to say something 15 times or something before someone remembers, right? I charge $900. It's $900. I charge $90 an hour, available in 10-hour chunks. You know, I talk about the details again. No contracts. Debit cards are not refundable. And they're good from the 1 year of the date of purchase. Now, there are times when I have refunded a debit card where I just realized this is not good and it's not a good fit. And I get to decide each time how I want to handle it. In one case, I just said, here's all your money back, bye-bye. Nice, because the world is small. Believe me, the world is very small. Other times when you know, I split it with them. You know, I just said, they said, can I have a refund? And I said, yeah, I'll split it with you because I don't have refunds. It's, you know, the big thing that I don't talk about in this presentation, which I should, is that it's really confidence and courage. That's what you're tapping into more than the right price. So anyway, you get to be the boss. When I'm making those decisions about refunds, I check in with myself about how I would feel if another client heard me have that conversation, because I'm a little bit of a Girl Scout and it's important for me to be fair. So if someone asks for something, I think, would I give that to everybody? Could I talk about that and not be embarrassed? So that's sort of my compass. Then this is the thank you page. And then right here, boom, schedule a time to work with me. I want to be accessible. Okay, we're almost done with what happens to the client. Next, from Gravity Forms, which is the plugin on my WordPress website that I use, they get this letter. And each time anybody buys a debit card, they get the same exact letter. It just goes, and I'm going to talk about a second email that the first time buyer gets, and I'll go into the details because much of it's the same. Oh, all right. So this is what happens. So on my phone, I have a Zapier integration set up that when a transaction goes through Stripe, my Stripe account, it sends me an text to my phone, and you can choose what the text says, and says, cha-ching, baby. Now, I've told my clients about this, and they think it's so much fun that I set it up for them. So you can do this with Infusionsoft. You can do this with all different kinds of credit card, you know, platforms, and so that the client knows when the sale comes in. So some of these things are silly, but people pay me to do them because they see me doing it. All right, so let's talk about the tools. WordPress website, free plus hosting. You know, hosting can be between $3 and $30 a month. You guys know that. Gravity Forms, the license that you would need for Gravity Forms to make all these connections and send the letters and all that stuff is $259. However, my offer at the end is I have a course that teaches you this whole thing step by step. And that course is actually a little bit more than the license is every single year, but I'm going to give you guys a discount. Stripe. You can also use PayPal. You could probably use Square. You can use, you know, anything you want because, well, I'm going to break it down in a minute, but there's really 4 steps to this, and you can choose the tools that you want. These are just the tools that I've decided to use. So 2.9%, 30-cent transaction fee. That's pretty standard. And the Stripe add-on integration is free. Or you can buy my Rocket Girl debit card course for $297, and then I'm going to take something off of that at the end. All right, client welcome email. This goes out. I send it manually because sometimes by the time I send it, which is I try to do it within an hour, they've already scheduled time because they're just really excited about this. I wrote this email once. Writing is not my strength, so I had it edited. A friend of mine edited it, and the only thing I change every year is the date. I do not rethink this. I don't spend any time on it. This is done. So basically, yay, welcome. I'm so excited. We're going to focus on building your business. Let's set up our first meeting. So I'm telling them what to do. I tell them they're going to get my email newsletter, and then I have these tips and guidelines. So this is my way of letting them know how best to work with me. They love this. I did this because people kept saying after they bought the debit card, now what do we do? And I'd say, we just start working, and they didn't like that. So I came up with this. Again, this is how much it costs. This is how much, how it works. And I tell them that every Monday morning they're going to get an email detailing how much time is left and their expiration date. And this is important too, because when the time expires, whether they've used it or not, it goes away. And there are some other solutions to that. You can, if a client has an hour left and they don't want to use it before, or they can't before the expiration date, if there's been some kind of life event, like someone died or there's a pandemic, or actually not a pandemic. I did that with a couple of people who did in-person stuff. I'll just say, how about if I extend it a couple of months? Because I would do that for pretty much anyone. If they don't want to do that, or if that's not an option, I also tell them, if you buy more time, I'll roll it all together and push it out a year. So let's say somebody has an hour left. They're not going to use it. They buy 5 hours. Now they have 6 hours, and they have a year to use that 6 hours. That seems reasonable to me and generous, and they love that. So I do that. I tell them how to schedule time with me, and I also tell them that they can call me, because people have said to me, they treat me like I'm Google or something. You can call, I can call you? I'm like, yes, you can call me. Most of the time they'll text me and ask me if they can call me, which is very nice. But yes, they can call me, and I just explain, if I can't pick up the phone, I'll call you back. And I tell them that if you need to call me anytime, it doesn't have to be in some window. If I can and want to pick up the phone, I will. If I'm in the middle of a horse show and my daughter's in the ring, I'm not picking it up, right? But if I can, I will, because my clients don't take advantage of that, and they don't take advantage of me. So if they're calling me on Saturday, something is bad has happened. I also tell them that I can be reached via email, and I reiterate that I am checking it all day long. I'm watching for their emergencies, and I have a sort of a sixth sense. If someone has an emergency, I just glance at my email and I'm on it. Because in my work, stuff can happen. And then I just let them know that you'll usually hear from me by the end of the day, and certainly within 24 hours. So just really laying out, and I think it brings a lot of comfort to my clients, just kind of knowing that I got them, like I got it. So this is what I do. And then again, I tell them, and then here, I ask them, don't use text. And that happened just the other day. One of my clients, who's also a VIPer, Diane Spadola, she's a face painter. I was on a walk. She texted me. She asked me to do something in her Kajabi account. And by the time I got home, like 10 other people had texted me, and I forgot, because I know scrolling through my text thread is not a part of how I work. So I suggest to my clients, if you can't get my attention and you need me, email me and then text me that you emailed me, because that way I won't lose you. Okay. This is how I schedule. I'm not going to go into this a lot, but I use Acuity. Clients have access to this. It's on my website. They can book 30, 60, or 90 minutes. I suggest to them always to book more time, because I'm so busy and my meetings can be back to back. I'd rather have 15 minutes to work on something else rather than having to push them off the phone when we're in the middle of something. So I only charge them for the time they actually use. And this is what I hear. My clients look forward to using the time. They don't think every time I do something, they're going to get an invoice. I know my website guy, Barry, I mentioned, he takes care of 3 of my websites. And when something comes up and I have time on my debit card, it's like I have $100 and a full tank of gas. You know, I'm like, I'm good. So I just ask him to do stuff because it's more convenient than me doing it. So I know firsthand that it's great. And then the other thing is they're more relaxed. You know, they're not in a rush. And I even have clients that will buy a debit card when their debit card runs out. They don't even have a project, and sometimes we don't work together, but they know if something comes up and they're a client, I'm on it. So that's how that all works. All right, so Jen, I just want to check and see if anybody has any questions or they're thinking this is just not going to work for me.
Hey, oh my God, I just ran up.
Oh, sorry.
The stairs. No, that's okay. I was in between two screens. So one was at my house, one was in my office here in the carriage house. So I heard you. There's no questions.
Okay, good.
Yeah, because you already said, I was going to ask, do you ever get any pushback? But you said you don't.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't take the pushback. That's the thing, because I've been doing this long enough that any client who's ever tried to negotiate with me has never been a good client. You know, like I had this one client, I said to him, this is when I was doing flat rate, and I wanted, before the project ended, I wanted my last $1,200. And he said, what's the big deal with getting paid? And I said, nicely, well, what is the big deal with getting paid? And you know, that guy never paid me. He never paid me.
Yeah.
So, you know, whatever, he has to live with himself, and, you know, it wasn't the end of my world. But if people, if they don't have to work this way, they can go work with someone else. It's totally fine.
I think that, and that's just sort of good advice. Ooh, I'm getting feedback. I think that's just really good advice across the board, right?
Exactly. So anyway, all right, so if there's no questions, that's great. Now I'm going to talk about the other side, okay? Okay, so now I want to talk to you about how it works on the back end. So you're going to track your time and you're going to report back to the client. So that's the big picture, okay? So getting paid up front. So I track my time in Toggle, and what I do, Toggle is a tool that is, it's web-based, and the free version works. It absolutely works. You don't need to pay the $5. And what happens is I have a steno pad, because I'm 1,000 years old, next to me on my desk. And when I start to work for a client, I'll just jot down their initials or their name or something and what time it is. After I do that, I do their work. And when I'm finished, I close everything down, look at my, my watch, my computer time again, and then I make a note. I do this every time I finish. I don't do it at the end of the day. I would never be able to remember what I did, especially because in one day I can talk to 10 clients, and it could be all 10 10-minute things, but I could easily work all day in 10-minute things and not end up getting paid. So you'll see, it's mostly my shorthand, promo code IS, that stands for Infusionsoft. Emails, review. I was reviewing her website, project, email rollout. So it's so that I can remember. So at the end of the week, if I look back, and I can just kind of say, yep, I got all the time, because I want to make sure that I do. So that's Toggle. My clients don't ask me for they don't ever ask me for an accounting of what I spent my time on. They do ask me for an estimate of how long I think something's going to take, and I give them a very general answer. So if they say, I'd like you to set up a template for me and send out an email newsletter, I say, okay, great, I can totally do that. And what I tell them is, it depends on how organized you are. If you send me 10 spreadsheets and they need to be formatted, then it's going to take however long that takes to get your contacts in place. If you send me a spreadsheet that's ready to go, and I'll tell you how to do that, it'll take me about 6 minutes to upload, your list to whatever, because it's so simple. So I explain that a little bit, and I say, if you're organized and we get this done, it'll be about, less than an hour and a half, and they're happy with that. And they've already paid for my time, so they're not thinking about, what's going to come out of their current bank account. It's already done. On Sundays or Mondays, I run a report in Toggle, and you can see I have how much time I've spent on each client. And it can really vary. So here, Anne is an hour, Bob was 5 hours, here Dave was 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and the list just goes down from there. And then what I do is I have a spreadsheet in Excel. And the email and last names are typically in there, but I took them out to preserve their privacy. So what happens is I subtract the time they've used from the time they have. If they've purchased more time, I add it in and adjust the expiration date. This is the end result of what I'm going to show you how to do. But essentially, in my course, I teach you how to do this using a free MailChimp account. So every Monday morning, they get this email. I try to send it at 10:30 so that they, it's like clockwork. And it's the Rocket Girl Orbit. So I play off Rocket Girl a lot. And it's your personalized weekly debit card update, right? So there's custom fields here. Barry, 9, 5, and this right here. The rest is all the same. Now, how I do that is these are merge fields. So, if you're from the dark ages like me, we used to do this with Excel and Word in Office, right, to create actual physical letters. Now we do it in Kajabi and all applications using merge fields. So these are the merge fields here, and then this gets imported, right? So Barry 9/5 May 2020, and then you can see that information's right there. Now the reason I have to do 4 hours and 50 minutes separately is because I can't. Well, maybe I could, but I didn't put, a colon. I guess I could have put the merge field 9 and then colon and then 5. But I just think this looks nicer and it's more on brand with my sort of white glove service. So this goes out. Now, a couple things happen when I do the spreadsheet. I didn't always used to do the spreadsheet. At one time, I was so embarrassed, I wanted to die. I worked for a guy, Ken, who was very nice and understanding, 20 hours over what he'd already paid for. I don't know what I was thinking about. But I started these weekly updates with some cute quote, and the quote was always tripping me up, so I stopped doing it. So don't do that. Just tell them how much time they have left, and then I can sort of plan cash flow. So if a client that's working with me all the time has 10 minutes left, she's going to see this, and she's going to she knows I've got stuff to do. She's going to reload her debit card.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
Well, there's a couple.
Okay.
From the audience and from me. So
okay.
I'm freaking out over mail merge right now because I thought that was gone. Like 100 years ago when I worked in nonprofit, I used to use Microsoft Access and we would create these emails and I loved it because, I mean, not emails. Were they emails? No, they were actual letters in the mail. That we
were separated at birth. I loved Access.
It was the best. And I've been complaining, like, is there anything like that now? Because mail merge is so great. So what you just did was a mail merge in MailChimp?
Well,
I mean, you don't have to give us don't give us the detail. I just.
No. So this, I have this old CRM that's really expensive. I'm grandfathered in. I don't pay for it. That's what I use. However, in the debit card system course, because I don't want people to pay $70 a month for this thing, these are this actual code is from this other, it's called Contactually. So, but it does work in MailChimp. It works in Kajabi too. We've set up my VA for my VA connection. We send customized links to the check-in documents to my accelerators so that the link is in their email each time. And we do it with merge fields. Malou knows how to do that. So you create the custom field in Kajabi, and then you bring the code in. And so you can do, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Yep. So we can do that in Kajabi. Yeah, I'll show you guys. Malou can show you how to do that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. And then Elizabeth says, great talk, Belinda. I love hearing about how you decide. I would love to hear about how you decide on your pricing, like the rate itself.
Okay, sure. So what I did was I started at $50 an hour because I made about $100,000 a year in corporate. And see, here's the thing. There wasn't so much internet back then, so I didn't have a lot of information. And that was probably a good thing. And I talked to other professionals who helped me start my business, and they were high-paid consultants. And so when I said $50 an hour and they knew what I was capable of, they were like, come on over. So that was really it. I called myself a business manager I didn't know about VAs at the time. And I just tried to make it so that they couldn't compare me to someone else. Because if you start to compare, then people can line you all up and say, oh, well, she's 10, she's 15, she's 20, which one do I want? So that was part of it. But I just thought my brain was $50 an hour. I got, 6 or 8 clients. This is how I thought about it in my head. I filled my dance card at $50 an hour. And then I raised my rate to 60, and I had to practice saying $60 an hour. I used to walk around this pond in Boston with my earbuds in, talking to myself, saying, yeah, it's really simple. It's $60 an hour. And I just kept practicing. Honestly, you have to do that. And then when I had enough at 60, I went to 70. And then I chickened out because I'm raising my daughter. I have to pay for, all this stuff. And there's no backstop. There's no trust fund. This is the deal. So I raised it to 75 because every time I raise it, I'm sure people are just going to go away. When I got to $120, it was either 120 or 125, I don't remember. I took 26 new clients on that year. However, because my brother explains to me, because he's a sales guy, price elasticity or something, I made less money at the higher rate. Even though people were hiring me, they weren't using me. So that's why I went back down, which was kind of counterintuitive. One of my clients is like, what are you doing? And it's like, trust me. And it's interesting because he used me to only do his newsletter. Once my price came down and he buys 10 hours at a time, he buys about 8, he buys 2 debit cards a month, and I do so much more for him. I do his schedule, like admin work, for $90 an hour.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. And then Heather says, this is great, Belinda. I'm wondering if clients ever question the number of hours used for a specific project.
No. Well, so here's the thing about that. When my clients were $50 an hour, they were much more high maintenance because they couldn't afford me. Once someone decides that they're going to pay $90 an hour for someone to do work, they can afford me. And you can tell right away, just at the speed of their words, how much they can afford you. So no one pushes back because most of my work we do together. So for example, and once they get to know me, I'm pretty fast. So so my client, Michelle, I love her. So I do her newsletter. I talk about newsletters a lot. I do a lot of newsletters. I met her one time at a party and she was bragging about me to someone else. And she said, when I do my newsletter, it takes all day long and I'm usually crying at the end. And then she said, but when Belinda does it, it takes an hour and 15 minutes and it's perfect. So people get in the groove and understand how much time it takes. And I also work with them on the phone. It's often that someone will, like in Kajabi, my client Diane, I'm like, let's just do this together. It's faster. So she'll watch me work. And once they watch me work, they're like, okay, no problem. So that's how I've gotten around that.
Okay, thanks. As you were.
Okay, all right. Let's see. Where was I? All right, so here we are. Okay, so the key here, there's like a ton of details and a ton of, of stuff to know. However, the key is you're selling your hours in chunks. That's the whole deal. Prepaid, you set up and choose your payment method and you track your hours and report back. That's really what this is. When you go to set it up, there's spreadsheets and Excel and MailChimp and, all that stuff. But at the bottom line, this is the deal. So you can do this by saying, my time is in 10-hour chunks. It's this much money. Here's a button on my website to PayPal. It's the same thing. And then you can manually, in the beginning, I didn't have all this, automation stuff. I wrote an email. I didn't even have a Google Gmail template because I didn't know Jen yet. So I would just, have the words in a Word document, drop it over into Gmail and just tell them manually. Scarlett does that. Scarlett DeBees, who's the image consultant. She lets them know quarterly because I'm not talking to Scarlett about my clothes every day or every week. But so she tells me quarterly. So you can adapt this to your own needs. But that's really at the core of it, is to get paid up front. And just looking where I am, to get paid up front and and to report back to your clients. All right, so then the rest of the story, Jen's not on, but this is a picture that I took, or I didn't take it, I'm in it. Someone took in Cleveland, I believe it was, I have to remember now.
January.
January 26th, I think, right?
It was cold.
Now I remember. So we were in Cleveland. I'm one of Jen's accelerators, and I'm just about to start my 4th accelerator with her. And I had a dream, and the dream was, it started about 5 years ago, and I couldn't find the right person to help me do it. And I'm a huge fan of finding someone who has what you want and asking them how they got there, because that's the fastest route, or just hiring them to do it. But in this case, I needed to do the work. So Jen, I told Jen that I wanted a community of virtual assistants, and I wanted a place where I could pour my heart into it, because the 2nd year in, I'm making $100,000, and it's been consistent. I figured it out. And the next logical step for me has always been to teach it. Like, I had blueberry babies, I figured it out, and now I do it for my clients and teach them. And so I was ready for that next step. I'm still a full-time virtual assistant, business manager, and working and continuing to, planning to continue to do that for quite a while. But I did want to start this. So what happened was, I joined VIP. And I was on Jen's Q&As, every week, like boom, 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 with questions. And but I couldn't get it fast enough. I wanted it faster, and so I joined her accelerator. And I am very proud and happy and excited that with her help, I started the accelerator in September. With her help, I have a vibrant, growing, thriving Facebook group with 5,400 members. And it's been so much fun, and I just can't tell you. And I've opened up a VIP club that I'm enrolling people who are interested in being VAs now until Friday. I believe it's July 17th. And I have a very special course that I didn't talk about today, but it's very similar, except it's step-by-step how to do an email newsletter, including email content. And that comes with the club if you enrolled before the deadline in July. So the VIP club is it's modeled after Jen's club. Lots of trainings, the vault, the forum. Right now we're at I think 67 members, and growing, and it's a lot of fun. I love spending time there. We have parties. It's just super cool. So if you're thinking about being a virtual assistant, or you've been one for a while, it's a really fun place to be. So now here's my big special deal, all right? So I developed a course for the VA connection, and I did that. The 2 courses I chose were because I think these were the 2 things that moved the needle in my business the most. Being in touch with someone over and over in an email newsletter, displaying my work, showing what I'm thinking about, talking about my work really helped a lot. And then the other thing is getting no kidding clear about my pricing. So I developed this course. It's $297, and here's the steps. These are the benefits of doing that, and it's been really great. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer you guys $50 off with the coupon code Front Row, and it's actually almost free doing it this way, and I'll tell you why. Because every year you need to renew the Gravity Forms is the plugin that I use for WordPress. You need to renew the license. However, I have a developer's license, and in this capacity of sharing it with you, I'm able to give you access for one website to use this plugin. And so really it's I think I'm actually paying you, but I'm happy to do it. So if this is interesting to you and you want to learn how to get paid up front, every single detail has been covered, including how to make a pretty button for your website. So now I just want to see if there's any other questions. You can, I guess Jen's put up the code. Thank you very much. And
this is so awesome. Thank you for offering this discount to the front rowers. Belinda, this was so good. And what you guys probably notice as you were watching Belinda walk through this and hearing her story is that she is she's my kind of teacher because she's very like step by step. Everything is very clear. Her train of thought is very organized. And so her content is like that, right? And so that is why she has been able to completely explode this brand new business. She's sort of like sort of brushed past that, but I mean, she went kind of quick, but yeah, she has almost 6,000 members in her group. She gets like 20, 30 requests every day to join her free group. which is she's about to surpass my big front row group that has about the same amount and it's been around for like 4 years, 5 years. Yes. And so she's got 67 people in her membership site. In that membership site are the most amazing courses. Plus she's got these other courses she didn't talk about that I won't talk about. You can go look at her website, but she's created these other courses that help people either become VAs, or if they're already a virtual assistant, then how to, be better at it, make more money, get more clients, be more efficient, systemize things. This debit card system, I think, was just such the perfect training for you to choose, Belinda, because like Belinda said, it really doesn't matter what industry you're in. If you want to get paid up front, it's like the punch card system, but I love the way that you've got it so automated. That's what's key, because, do not give me something that's just going to create more work for me,
I know every Monday, cha-ching, my phone, 2 or 3 people, buy a debit card. Because I send them that email and I'm like, there you go. And then I put it in my little spreadsheet and figure out what's going on, and it's there. So it is totally self-serve. I rarely have to ask someone to reload their debit card. Rarely. And
we'll learn in this, will we learn the that merge thing?
Totally. The merge, I'll just give you the course, Jen. You learn the merge. There's not one thing that I talked about that's not in there, and there's a ton more. Like I talk about how to install Gravity Forms, getting the webhooks, getting the API, logging. It's like the whole thing. And how to do that Stripe add-on. I walk through how to get a Stripe account, what you have to fill out. I walk through the whole thing. And I would say the course is relatively new. It rolled out in May, and I would say that probably 15 people have installed it. And I've only hit one bump where I needed to talk to someone. People are just walking right through it and they're using it.
Okay. So we have a question because I think I confused everybody. So I'm going to put this question up here. And then we've got a couple other questions. And I've got a couple of questions I'm going to put up on the screen because I do think I confused everybody a little bit. And I also think you should talk about your newsletter course. Can you do that?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Okay.
Not right this second. Okay. I'm going to put the questions and then maybe you could find the link or bring it up on the screen because I don't know. I think that's a really good, I think we should show that too. But, okay. So Elizabeth says, can you tell us a little more about what is part of the offer? Is it the debit card system or the VA? And what is the training? Just your videos or any one-on-one time? Would love to hear more about the specifics.
Okay, good. All right. So, all right, here we go. So this is the debit card course. So in this course, Module 1, you can see this, okay? Overview of the debit card system, why you want to do it, the words and the concepts. So I talk to you about how to talk to your clients, like the actual words. What is Stripe? How do you set it up? How the custom forms drive the system, the whole thing. So this is how to set up Stripe, and actually I even show you if you don't have a WordPress, or if you have a WordPress site, I show you how to. This is crazy. We have to raise the price on this course, Jen. I show you how to put the actual code from Stripe, from Gravity Forms into the website. It's everything. I give you the actual text for that welcome email I told you about. I show you. There's a whole tutorial on Toggle. I show you how to set up the merge fields in MailChimp, and it's the same across most applications. And then I also talk about how to get your clients to keep buying more time with that Orbit. I talk about some other things too, like at the end of the year. So here, how to wow clients with extra free time at the end of the year. I pay quarterly taxes. So if I have one quarter that's bigger, I have more money, so I just pay more taxes, right? It's kind of simple. So at the end of the year, every year, I say to my clients, okay, because they're successful people, do you have a pile of money that someone just dumped in your bank account that you wish wasn't there? And so one client last year bought 5 $900 debit cards the last day of December.
Oh my gosh, that's so genius.
Yeah, I know. I sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and so they do that, and I offer it as a gift. I'm like, so listen, it's the end of the year. I just want to let you know that it's not gonna be a problem for me if you do this, because they don't want to do that to me, because they're protecting me, because we have this great relationship. So I just say to them, it's fine, just do it. And so December, it's great because, it's an expensive month. And so that just gets wiped away. I have a little stash of money in January, and I looked over history because I was curious. January has never been a slower month because people did that, because January is like September, right? It's like, it's the new beginning and everybody wants to hire me. And so it doesn't shoot me in the foot for January at all.
That's just amazing. But
okay, so I even give you the text for that. Like, I show you exactly what I write to my clients. Yep.
That's amazing. So to answer your question, Elizabeth, this doesn't come with one-on-one time with Belinda. Elizabeth is a dermatologist. I think, Elizabeth, if you want time with the VA part of things, that's a whole separate thing. You go to rocketgirlsolutions.com. Nika, if you'll put that up there. And I don't know if you're actually if you're accepting new clients at the moment, but whatever, go over there and you could connect with Belinda that way. Yeah. And then, go ahead.
You know what they could do? If you go through the debit card course and you have, you can do a couple of things. If you buy the debit card course and it's on Kajabi, you have questions, you put them in the comment, I will reply. And that's worked beautifully. If I had any doubt about this, I would add an hour in, but I don't think you're going to need it. And so I'll answer the questions. And if you want to book an hour of my time, you can do that on my Rocket Girl website. You can book an hour and I can walk you through, or you can hire me as Rocket Girl and buy 5 hours and I'll set the whole thing up for you.
Okay, awesome. And the whole VA thing we were talking about. So Belinda's business is split. She started her career, her journey as a business manager / VA, had such success with it. And she was like right from the minute that she started, she was having 6-figure years. She's like, so now she was like, she had this dream. She wanted to teach it. Okay. So then she moved to phase 2 of her business, and that's helping other VAs. And that's what this VA connection is all about. And under that umbrella, she teaches like the debit card course that's there too. But then she's got these other courses that she's going to show us as well.
So I have the VA Club, which is modeled directly after Jen's. And then I have an accelerator just like Jen's. In fact, I have 1 seat left in Accelerator 3.0. It's going to start in a couple of weeks. Here's the debit card. And then this is the Rocket Girl show. I won't get into a lot of detail about that, but I make 2 videos every week on very short, they're like 9 minutes long. All right, so let me just think about this for a second. All right, so those are the programs. That's the VA connection. I'll show you the Facebook group really quickly, but this is the other course that Jen wanted me to tell you about, because I really do think that email newsletters are my secret weapon. I also send them out to the VA connection once a week. My open rate is so high, engagement. People send me thank you letters because I do it the way that I teach you how to do it here, which is not to grab something that, statistics and people don't care about. I write about what people are asking me. So anyway, I just make a joke here because my first newsletter did take me a whole day and a bag of potato chips because I don't like to write. I've gotten much better at it 9 years later, and I have a formula. And so basically what I do is and I can show you this course too, I give you the list of the best topics. I actually give you a template that you click on a link. And if you use MailChimp, you open up MailChimp and the whole template just goes in there. Like, I just learned this. It was so cool. I couldn't even believe it. You just put your picture, not my picture, your header and not my header, but it's all the sections are there. You click change colors. I show you how to do all of that. I talk about the difference between a newsletter and a blog. There's a step-by-step checklist in there. I show you how to import your list. Like, it's the whole thing from I don't have a clue to holy cow, look what I just did. Everything's in there. Oh, the other thing is, there's 12 newsletters in there.
That's what the thing.
Yeah, it comes with 12 newsletters that I've written that I have to think about this for a minute. I wrote them with being a VA in mind, but they're really just about running a business. And the thing that I found is, I should probably make this red right here. You get the 12 newsletters. So there's 12 newsletters, and you can change them. You can use them on social media. You can, I didn't update this. It is open. It's past June 30th. Sorry about that. But anyway, I've been a little busy. But anyway, it is open, and people are buying it now. It did open on June 30th, just 9 days ago. But the articles are there, and I find that even if the articles aren't exactly what you're looking for, change a couple of words, and you can be inspired by them. And then I also give you the best topics. They're not about VA things. They're about like how to onboard a client, or how to things to check in your business to make sure you're on track. So a lot of them could be.
Oh my gosh, that could totally be. I still haven't gone in there to take a look. I'm doing that today, but I think this really could go beyond the VA audience for sure. It's like,
right? Yeah. It could. And the other thing is, so there's two things, and I didn't even get this at first. So I'm teaching you how to do a newsletter, but then the truth is, especially in the pandemic, the revenue stream that has been so strong for me is newsletters. So what happened is my clients, and the reason is my clients saw my newsletter and they were like, wow, that's really nice. And then what happened was they said, can I do this for you? And I just happened to have this up right here because I was showing somebody something. I'm just happened to pick this browser. But this is what the newsletters look like typically. So this is Sue Danson. She's a client. We create these beautiful headers, and then we put a picture. So this is really what you're creating. It's very simple, elegant. There's a reason for each one of these sections. There's a way to talk about what you do, the whole schedule thing. So I talk through why you do it this way, and once you learn it, you can do it for other people. Let's see, who's this? This is a little bit different. This is but you can see it's the simple elegance of this. These newsletters have really high open rates. I'm at the bottom because I was showing somebody these. This is a client of mine. She's a nurse and an attorney, and she writes about healthcare, and she publishes, and her content gets pushed way beyond her newsletter list. So it's also a revenue stream. So if you're kind of caught and you don't know what to do right now, and you want to be a VA, this is a very solid way to do it. And the newsletter course will totally get you going because it's all right there. It's just ready to go.
Are they getting the open rates that you get?
Yeah.
Because I learned once and then started reteaching because it seemed to make sense that we don't want our newsletters to have banners and pictures because Gmail sees all that. And also that we want it supposedly to look like it just came from a friend, but I love the way those look, and you are getting those huge open rates. So, I'm doing this whole podcast series coming up that is about rewriting the rules and sort of unlearning the stuff that we've learned in marketing, because people are defying the rules is essentially what you're doing. And you're getting 60% open rates?
More like 40, but that's
unheard of. Everybody else is getting 17 and 20.
Yeah.
So
like Sue, her open rates, she's so funny. I love her. She said something to me. This is maybe her 5th newsletter. And she's like, my open rate's only 50%. I'm like, oh my gosh. She had no idea. And then the other thing, and then there's a revenue stream beyond this, because what happens is then I put it on their website. No matter what the website, I put it on Kajabi or WordPress, whatever, what is Squarespace. And then beyond that, I help them with a very simple social media strategy. I put it up on LinkedIn as an article. So I just keep adding all these different things. So every month, Sue shows up so happy that she wrote her newsletter. I never provide the words except for my own. And I picked the picture, we thought that was cute because of Dorothy, there's no place like home. And I send her a test. She sends me any edits, the whole thing all in, hour and a half of my time. So I'm getting paid well. What is that, $150? And she's like, I only had to pay $150. That's done. So it really is a nice repetitive revenue stream, I found.
And how has that generated revenue in your business? I mean, other than not making the newsletters for people, but the newsletters that you send out for Rocket Girl Solutions.
Oh my God. So this is what my sales conversations are. Someone tells them about me, or they get on my newsletter list. My newsletter list is small relative to the online world, but it's quite large compared to, my clients. It started at probably like 300 or 400, and now it's 1,500, 100% opt-in. And what happens is the conversations when people want to hire me, we get on the phone and they say, I've been thinking about hiring you for a year. Are you taking new clients? That's the conversation, because they know me, they've seen my picture, they like me. I write about, well, here's one of mine. It's so funny that I just picked this browser. There's my chickers. So, issue 108, I sent this out during the pandemic, so I was like making a joke about my hair, and I talk about lists because I thought everybody's at home and they're making lists. You know, they're all stuck, they don't know what to do. So this is kind of a long one, but I just talk about how to break things down, use a system, invest time up front, and then let me know how it goes. Things I can't live without. So I write about friends. I write about my car. I write about my chickens, obviously.
Yeah.
So this is like a little window into me. And then I don't usually do goofy things, but this is a really funny video about what happens when you get backyard chickens, how you start to be like a maniac and talk to them and name them and stuff. And then this is very simple. I'm not listing everything I can do. If they want to know, they click here. And then here is where the exhaustive list is. So people get so overwhelmed. So this is my services page. Here is where I want them to get overwhelmed. And what they do is, I love this, they print it out and they say, can we just go down the list? I need a lot of this stuff. I'm like, okay, we can do that. And then this is really the call to action here. Because once we get on the phone, we either know we're going to work together or not. And so that's really how that all works.
Okay, one more question.
Yeah.
What do you do with this content that is so great in this newsletter? Is this what gets repurposed into your Rocket Girl show or your slides, or is that your blog?
Okay. So it does get tricky because Rocket Girl and the VA connection. So for Rocket Girl, what I would do, it was less aggressive is not the word, but we'll just use it for now. It was a little bit less aggressive. So what I would do is I put it on my website. I would post it on Facebook once, and then I would put it on LinkedIn, and that was kind of it. And I was getting a steady stream of clients, so I didn't really feel like I wanted to crank it up. And once I'm at 50 clients, I can't really take that many. I can't really take any more anyway. So it was just part of this thing I call sprinkling. Like I'm sprinkling over here. It's just sort of sprinkling, and the newsletter is part of that.
Got it. I knew that about your Rocket Girl show. That's VA connection.
Yeah. Well, no. So the Rocket Girl show is different. So let's go right here. So the Rocket Girl show. So I write this newsletter. It goes out every Monday, and it's things that are specifically about being a virtual assistant. This is what the Rocket Girl show is. So the Rocket Girl, my newsletter is talking to solo professionals. The VA Connection Buzz is a different newsletter, and that's talking to VAs or people who want to be VAs. And so what Jen came up with for me was to do this Rocket Girl show, which is, let's see, where am I? Super fun because, I have to go up here, sorry. Because what it is a 7 to 9 minute video on these topics. So I took the Rocket Girl, I thought this was the product. Sorry, I'm being silly. Hold on. I don't have it up here. Anyway, it's a whole bunch of videos, 60 plus videos where I just go, I turned it into a formula to read the main points of the VA Connection Buzz, this newsletter that I write.
So the newsletter becomes a show, and then the show has become such a thing. It's so good, and you do it so consistently. And a lot of times, like whatever was in that blog, you can now like show how to do whatever that thing is that you're talking about.
Exactly. So I write this, this one page about how to fire a client. And then in the Rocket Girl show, I say, I'm Belinda Boster, Rocket Girl. Today we're going to talk about how to fire a client. And then I have this cool trailer that my guy made. And then I say, it's difficult when you're a virtual assistant if you let the wrong person hire you. Today we're going to talk about what to do. And then I'll take the 4 points from the newsletter, put them in a PowerPoint, show, split the screen like we're doing now. And then I'll just talk through them. And because I've already written about them, I know what they are. It doesn't involve research. It just, I'm going to talk about them. And then at the end of that, I say, hey, if you haven't heard, I have a free online classroom, because I'm copying your words. Come on over to the Virtual Assistant Connection on Facebook. I'd love to have you. And I do my little thing. And I have a cool slide for that. So for that, like I said, there's over 60 videos in the can, and I can use them to promote on LinkedIn and Periscope. I just try to put them everywhere, and then I package them in Kajabi in a nice little package, nice little product as well.
Yeah, and now it's a product that you could purchase. She can use as an upsell, as a bonus. It's fantastic. Like exemplary, really.
Thank you. So I want to tell you one more thing, though. So the newsletters can go even beyond. So I have one client who turned it into a podcast. Two clients turned it into a podcast. And as part of my job as Rocket Girl, I put it on there. I'm not a podcast person at all, but I can post it. And then the other thing is I've had one client turn its newsletters into books, self-published. And I did the research on the Amazon Create space or whatever it's called. And then another client has turned it into a course. I turned it into a video. So you can, once you have this content, you load the stuff up into Meet Edgar. You pull 4 quotes out of a newsletter, post it on your website, and Meet Edgar just all day long is shooting it everywhere. So when I created my newsletter 9 years ago, I had no idea how powerful it was. I had no idea the giant asset I was going to have at the end. It's overwhelming when I really think about what it's brought me.
And I know a lot of people watching now or on the replay might be thinking that, well, I've never had that much success with a newsletter. And I would argue that the key is that Belinda is the queen of consistency. I mean, it's the way she puts it together, and it's the innards as well, for sure.
It is. You have to be consistent. It was in the beginning every 2 weeks. No kidding.
So, all right. What else do you want to tell us about before we conclude? This has been outstanding. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. It's really been fun. I love doing this. I think that's all. I would say, come over to my group if you want to be a virtual assistant. I would love to have you. I'm going to just move this over so I can see you.
We're going to put that banner up there, Nika. There we go.
Great.
All right. That's Belinda's free group. You can connect with her there. And thank you for that generous offer. That's $50 off that debit card system that can be used for anybody who wants to be paid in advance for services rendered. So,
and the newsletter course is free if they sign up for VIP by the end of next week.
Oh, and you get that course free if you want to sign up for VIP by the end of next week. Is there echo in here? Just repeated everything you said. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Belinda. And I'll see you in the front row. And you guys stick around, because at 1:30, we've got Devi Adia. And I don't even know if I'm saying her last name right. But she's going to talk to us all about podcasting. She is a podcasting expert. So I'm super excited about that. And that's in like a little more than 15 minutes. So stick around, and we'll see you soon. Thank you so much. Oh, it's at 2. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you, Nika. Nika always has my back. Oh my gosh, what would I do without you? Okay, 2 p.m. 2 p.m. Not 1:30. That's good, because I need to eat something. So 2 p.m. right here. Okay. Thank you,
Bye.
Belinda.